The little boy's finger trembled as he pointed at the woman hunched against the brick wall. "Daddy, look at Mommy. The lady sleeping there looks just like her." Nathan Chen froze mid-stride outside Seattle's most exclusive restaurant, the Gilded Swan. His 8-year-old son, Ethan, tugged harder at his Armani suit sleeve, nearly spilling the leftovers from their $500 dinner. The woman sat cross-legged on cardboard, her matted hair covering most of her face. A torn piece of cardboard read, "Anything helps. God bless." Nathan's heart stopped. Those cheekbones, that distinctive curve of her nose, the way she tucked her hair behind her left ear. Emma. But Emma was dead. Cancer took her 3 years ago. Nathan had held her hand as she took her last breath at Seattle Presbyterian Hospital. "Sir, is everything all right?" The valet approached, keys jingling. Nathan couldn't speak. His legs moved without permission, carrying him toward the impossible. The woman looked up. Brown eyes met his. The same golden flecks. The same slight downturn at the outer corners. Even the tiny scar above her left eyebrow from a childhood accident Emma always talked about. Nathan's knees buckled. "Emma." The word escaped as a broken whisper. The woman scrambled backward, fear flashing across her face. "I am not bothering anyone. I'll move." "Your face," Nathan's voice cracked. "You have her face." Alicia Foster had survived 20 years on Seattle's streets. She knew that look in men's eyes usually meant danger. Rich men approaching homeless women never ended well. But this man's expression held something different. Recognition. Pain. Confusion. "I don't know you," Alicia said, gripping her plastic bag tighter. Everything she owned was in that bag. "What's your name?" Nathan's hands shook as he pulled out his phone. "Alicia." She watched him scroll frantically through photos. "Alicia Foster." He turned the screen toward her. Alicia's scream caught in her throat. The woman in the photo wore designer clothes and perfect makeup. She stood in what looked like a mansion's foyer, smiling radiantly. But the face. It was her face. Every detail. Every line. "This was my wife. Emma Chen. She died 3 years ago." Nathan's voice broke completely. "You're identical. How is this possible?" Alicia stared at the photo. In 20 years of surviving hell, nothing had prepared her for this moment. Looking at a life she'd never lived. A face that was hers but wasn't. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Daddy, why are you crying?" Ethan's small voice cut through the moment. Nathan hadn't realized tears were streaming down his face. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. 20 years building a tech empire worth billions, and a homeless woman had shattered him in seconds. "Tommy!" A shrill voice called from across the street. "Tommy, get away from there!" Dorothy Whitfield stood frozen on the opposite sidewalk, her face draining of color. Next to her, Patricia clutched her purse like a shield. Nathan noticed the women staring. Emma's mother and aunt. But their expressions weren't surprise or curiosity. They looked terrified. "Dorothy?" Nathan called out. "Do you see this?" Dorothy grabbed Patricia's arm and hurried away, their heels clicking frantically on concrete. Strange. They'd driven 2 hours from Bellevue to have dinner with him and Ethan. Why were they running? Nathan turned back to Alicia, his mind racing. "When were you born?" "March 15th, 1990. At least, that's what the foster system told me." Nathan's phone slipped from his hand, clattering on the sidewalk. Emma's birthday. The exact same date. "Where are your parents?" Alicia laughed bitterly. "Never had any. Bounced through 12 foster homes until I aged out. Been on my own since 15. The pieces weren't fitting. Emma always said she was an only child. Her parents confirmed it countless times. No siblings. No extended family. But those eyes. That face. Even the way Alicia tilted her head when confused. It was Emma. Every gesture, every expression. "This is impossible," Nathan muttered, pacing now. "Identical strangers don't exist. Not like this." His phone buzzed. A text from Dorothy. "Don't do anything rash. We need to talk. Privately." The message sent chills down Nathan's spine. Dorothy knew something. "I should go," Alicia said, struggling to stand. 20 years of sleeping on concrete had destroyed her knees. "Wait." Nathan pulled out his wallet. "Let me help you. I don't need charity." Pride was all Alicia had left. "It's not charity." Nathan's hands still shook. "I need answers. And I think you do too." He handed her a business card. "Nathan Chen." CEO of Chen Technologies. Alicia recognized the name. Even homeless people knew about Seattle's golden boy tech genius. His face was on billboards across the city. "What do you want from me?" "The truth," Nathan said. "Whatever that is." Another text from Dorothy. "She's dangerous. Think of Ethan. Don't trust her." Dangerous? A homeless woman who looked exactly like his dead wife was dangerous? Nathan made a decision that would change everything. "I'm hiring a private investigator. The best in Seattle." He looked directly into Alicia's eyes. Emma's eyes. "Will you help me understand what's happening here?" Alicia had survived assault, starvation, and Seattle's brutal winters. But this moment terrified her more than anything. Because deep down, in places she'd locked away to survive, she'd always wondered why she was thrown away. Why no one ever came looking. "Okay," she whispered. Nathan's phone rang. "Dorothy calling now." He ignored it. "There's a hotel 2 blocks away. Let me get you a room for tonight. Tomorrow, we start looking for answers." Alicia nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. As Nathan helped her stand, his phone buzzed again. Dorothy's final text made his blood run cold. "You don't know what you're doing. Some secrets should stay buried. For everyone's sake." Nathan looked at Alicia, then at his son, then at the photo of Emma still glowing on his phone screen. 3 faces. 2 women. 1 impossible truth. Whatever Dorothy was hiding, whatever had happened 34 years ago, Nathan would uncover it. He didn't know that some truths destroy everything they touch, or that Dorothy Whitfield had spent 3 decades and hundreds of thousands of dollars making sure this moment would never come. But now Pandora's box was opening, and the woman who'd paid to keep it closed was running out of options. 3 days had passed since the impossible encounter. Nathan hadn't slept. Robert Young sat across from him in the Chen Technologies boardroom, sliding a manila folder across the polished table. "You're not going to like this," the private investigator said. Nathan opened the folder. His hands trembled as he read. Alicia Foster, age 34. No birth certificate. No official records before age 3. Robert paused. She appeared in the system like a ghost. 12 different foster homes. Documented abuse in 7 of them. How does someone have no birth certificate? That's the million-dollar question. Robert pulled out more papers. But here's where it gets interesting. I found sealed juvenile records. Alicia ran away 15 times before she turned 15. The last time, nobody looked for her. Nathan's phone buzzed. Another text from Dorothy. "We need to talk. Please. Before you do something we'll all regret." He ignored it. "There's more," Robert continued. "I tracked down a retired social worker. Patricia Gonzalez. She remembered Alicia. Said something strange." "What?" "She swore Alicia had a sister. Saw them together once at the first foster home. Then the other girl vanished." Nathan's coffee cup shattered against the floor. "That's impossible. The foster system would have records. Unless someone made those records disappear." Robert's eyes narrowed. "Nathan, what aren't you telling me?" Before Nathan could answer, his assistant burst in. "Mr. Chen, your mother-in-law is here. She says it's urgent." Dorothy Whitfield entered like a storm. 71 years old, but still commanding attention. Her sister Patricia followed, clutching a leather briefcase. "Everyone out," Dorothy ordered. "They stay," Nathan said coldly. Dorothy's face hardened. "Fine. Then let's discuss how your recklessness is going to destroy everything Sarah built." "Sarah." She never called Emma by her chosen American name. "Sit down, Dorothy. That woman is a con artist. She studied Emma online, practiced her mannerisms. Don't you see? She's after your money." "DNA doesn't lie," Nathan shot back. "I've already arranged the test." The color drained from Dorothy's face. Patricia dropped her briefcase. "You did what?" Dorothy's voice came out strangled. Alicia agreed. "We'll know within a week if she's related to Emma." Dorothy sank into a chair. For the first time in Nathan's memory, she looked fragile. "You don't understand," she whispered. "Some stones shouldn't be turned." "Then explain it to me." Dorothy and Patricia exchanged glances. A lifetime of secrets passed between them. "We need immunity," Patricia said suddenly. "Legal immunity before we say anything." Robert Young leaned forward. "From what?" "From things that happened 34 years ago." Dorothy's hands shook. "Things we did to protect our family." Nathan's blood ran cold. "What things?" Dorothy's phone rang. She answered on speaker without thinking. "Did you get the documents from the safe?" A panicked voice Nathan didn't recognize asked. "Helen." Dorothy's eyes widened in horror. She'd forgotten her other sister was supposed to call. The original birth certificates. Did you destroy them? He can't find out about the payment records. Dorothy ended the call. Silence filled the room like poison gas. Birth certificates, Nathan repeated slowly. Plural. Robert Young was already typing on his laptop. Helen Whitfield. Lives in Portland. Married name Helen Morrison. He looked up. She worked at Seattle Children's Hospital 34 years ago. Adoption department. The pieces were clicking together too fast. Nathan's phone rang. The DNA lab. Mr. Chen? I know the results aren't due for a week, but there's something unusual. We ran a preliminary test. The technician paused. The sample you provided shows markers consistent with identical twins. We've never seen anything quite like this in a paternity-related test. Nathan put the phone on speaker. What are you saying? The DNA suggests the subject shares identical genetic material with your late wife. They're twins, Mr. Chen. Identical twins. Dorothy let out a sound like a wounded animal. Patricia started crying. Thank you, Nathan managed. Send the full report when it's ready. He hung up and stared at his mother-in-law. Emma had a twin sister. And you knew. Dorothy's composure finally shattered completely. We couldn't afford 2 children. The adoption wasn't exactly legal. We had to choose. Choose. Nathan's voice was deadly quiet. The agency said they were a package deal, but we only had money for one. Patricia spoke through tears. Dorothy insisted on separating them. Said it would be easier if they never knew about each other. So you bought one child and threw the other away. We didn't throw her away. Dorothy protested. We made sure she went into foster care. We thought she'd be adopted by someone else. But she wasn't. Nathan's rage was building. She was abused. She ran away. She's been living on the streets for 20 years while Emma had everything. We didn't know. Don't lie to me. Nathan slammed his fist on the table. Helen just mentioned payment records. You've been paying someone to keep this quiet. Dorothy's silence was admission enough. Robert Young pulled up financial records on his laptop. Now that I know what to look for. Here. Quarterly payments of $5,000 to a company called Whitfield Holdings. The payment stopped 3 years ago. When Emma died, Nathan whispered. We were protecting our family, Dorothy said weakly. From what? From Alicia learning she had a sister? From Emma learning she had a twin? From everything falling apart. Dorothy exploded. Do you think Emma would have forgiven us? Do you think she would have understood? Nathan thought of his wife. Her kindness. Her compassion. Her fury when she saw injustice. No, he said. She would have been horrified. His phone buzzed. A message from the security team he'd hired to watch Alicia at the hotel. Sir, the subject left 20 minutes ago. Said she changed her mind about everything. We lost her near Pike Place Market. Nathan's heart sank. Alicia was running again. After 20 years of survival instincts, she knew when danger was closing in. But she didn't know the danger wasn't from him. Robert, find her. Now. As the investigator rushed out, Dorothy stood. Let her go, Nathan. It's better for everyone. Better? Nathan laughed bitterly. You stole her life. You stole Emma's sister from her. You stole the truth from all of us. And what will you gain by dragging this into the light? Dorothy's mask was back on. Emma is gone. You'll only hurt Ethan by pursuing this. Ethan deserves to know he has an aunt. An aunt who's been on the streets for 20 years? Who knows what diseases she has, what criminal connections. Get out. Nathan's voice was ice. And Dorothy? Whatever you're planning, whatever you think you need to do to protect yourself, remember, I'm recording everything now. Dorothy's face went white. She grabbed Patricia and fled. Nathan immediately called his head of security. I need cameras installed at Dorothy's house. Today. And tail her. I want to know every move she makes. His phone rang. Robert Young. Nathan, I found Alicia. But we have a bigger problem. Dorothy made a call right after leaving your office. To a man named Vincent Torelli. Nathan's blood froze. He knew that name. Everyone in Seattle knew that name. The fixer? The same one who makes problems disappear for wealthy families. Robert's voice was grim. Nathan, I think Alicia's in danger. Nathan was already running for the elevator. He didn't know that Dorothy had kept one final secret. The real reason she'd separated the twins 34 years ago. Or that the truth was darker than anyone imagined. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. Nathan found Alicia huddled in an alley behind Pike Place Market. The same survival spot she'd used for years. "They're coming for you," he said breathlessly. Alicia didn't look surprised. "Rich people always come for people like me when we know too much." Vincent Torelli. Dorothy hired him. Nathan crouched beside her. "We need to move. Now." For the first time in 20 years, Alicia let someone help her stand. Robert Young waited in an armored SUV, engine running. "My contact at the police says Torelli's crew is already searching downtown." They sped toward Nathan's secured compound in Bellevue. Alicia stared out the window at a world she'd only seen from gutters. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because Emma would never forgive me if I didn't." Nathan's voice cracked. "And because you deserve the truth as much as I do." His phone rang. The head of security. "Sir, we installed the cameras at Mrs. Whitfield's residence. You need to see this footage. She's in her study with Patricia, destroying documents." "Send it to my phone." The video showed Dorothy feeding papers into a shredder while Patricia poured lighter fluid into a metal trash can. But Helen had made a mistake on that panicked call. She'd mentioned a safe. "Robert, we need Helen Morrison's house in Portland searched. Legally. I'll get a warrant. The DNA evidence should be enough probable cause for fraud investigation." Nathan's phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Mr. Chen?" A elderly woman's voice. "My name is Patricia Gonzalez, the social worker. I heard you were looking into the Foster twins." Nathan put her on speaker. "You remember them?" "How could I forget? Two beautiful girls, barely 3 years old. Identical in every way. Then one day, only Alicia remained." "What happened to the other one?" "A private adoption," they said. "But I never believed it." Her voice dropped. The girls had been inseparable. Alicia cried for her sister every night for months. Called her Emmy. Alicia gasped. A memory, buried under decades of trauma, suddenly surfaced. "I remember," she whispered. "I remember her." The compound's security system alerted. 3 black SUVs approaching. "They found us," Robert said. But Nathan smiled grimly. "Good. I invited them." The lead SUV's door opened. But instead of Torelli's men, Detective Maria Rodriguez stepped out with a full SWAT team. "Mr. Chen, we have the warrant for Dorothy Whitfield's arrest. Your security footage was very helpful." The trap had worked. Nathan had leaked their location deliberately, knowing Dorothy would send Torelli immediately. "Torelli's crew?" Nathan asked. "Already in custody. They sang like canaries when we mentioned attempted murder charges." Rodriguez smiled. "Mrs. Whitfield is about to have visitors." Nathan's phone rang. It was his lawyer. The Portland judge signed the warrant. "They're at Helen Morrison's house now." A pause. "Nathan, they found a safe. Inside were original birth certificates for twin girls. Sarah and Kesha Williams." Sarah and Kesha. Not Emma and Alicia. Their real names. "There's more. Adoption papers. Signed by someone named Dolores Williams. Their birth mother. She's alive?" According to these records, she was paid $15,000 to sign away rights to both girls. But Dorothy only took one. Alicia Kesha collapsed into a chair. Her whole life, even her name, had been a lie. Nathan's security system showed Dorothy being arrested at her mansion. Patricia was already in handcuffs, sobbing hysterically. "We need to move," Nathan said. "Press conference in 1 hour. The world needs to know what happened here." The Chen Technologies auditorium filled with reporters. Nathan had called every major outlet. He stood at the podium with Kesha beside him. She wore Emma's clothes. They fit perfectly. 34 years ago, a crime was committed, Nathan began. 2 innocent children were separated. One was given everything. The other was discarded like trash. The cameras rolled as Nathan laid out every detail. The illegal adoption, the payments, the cover-up that lasted decades. Kesha stepped forward. Her voice, rough from years of survival, carried across the room. "My sister died never knowing I existed. I survived never knowing I was loved by someone somewhere." Tears streamed down her face. "Dorothy Whitfield stole more than our childhood. She stole our chance to know each other." The questions came rapidly. "Will you press charges?" "Every charge possible," Nathan answered. "What happens to Kesha now?" Nathan looked at the woman wearing his wife's face. "She's family. She comes home with us." In the audience, someone stood. An elderly black woman, tears streaming down her face. "My babies," she cried. "My babies." Security moved to intercept, but Kesha was already running. The woman collapsed into her arms. "I'm Dolores Williams. I'm your mother." They told me you both died. They told me you died. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room. Nathan's lawyer rushed over with documents from Portland. She's telling the truth. But there's more. The adoption papers were forged. She never signed them. Dorothy hadn't just bought children. She'd stolen them. The next months blurred together. Dorothy Whitfield's trial became national news. The prosecution revealed years of payments, forged documents, and bribes to officials. 20 years, the prosecutor said in closing arguments. For 20 years, Kesha Williams lived in hell, while Dorothy Whitfield lived in luxury bought with blood money. The judge's sentence was harsh. 5 years for human trafficking. 15 more for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. Dorothy, once Seattle's society queen, shuffled out in orange jumpsuit and shackles. Helen got 8 years. Patricia, who testified against her sisters, received 3. But justice was only the beginning. The Emma and Kesha Foster Foundation launched with $10 million of Nathan's personal funds. Within 6 months, it had housed 800 homeless individuals and reunited 23 separated families. Kesha, now executive director, spoke at universities nationwide. Her story sparked federal legislation requiring DNA databases for all foster children. Kesha's law passed with unanimous support. Tommy, who insisted on calling her Aunt Kesha immediately, helped her with reading and writing. She helped him understand that family isn't just blood but choice. Dolores moved to Seattle, finally reunited with her surviving daughter after 34 years of manufactured grief. The night before the 1-year anniversary of their meeting, Kesha found Nathan on the balcony, staring at the stars. "She would have loved you," he said quietly. "I would have loved her too." Kesha touched the locket Nathan had given her, Emma's locket, with both their pictures now. "But she's here. In Tommy. In the foundation. In every life we save." Nathan nodded. Dorothy tried to play God. Decided who deserved love and who deserved abandonment. "She failed," Kesha said simply. "Love found a way." The next morning, Seattle Times ran their headline, "From Streets to Salvation, the twin who refused to disappear." The article showed 2 photos. Dorothy Whitfield in prison gray, her empire destroyed, and Kesha Williams at the White House, receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom for her humanitarian work. Tommy's quote ended the article. "My Aunt Kesha taught me that family isn't about who keeps you. It's about who finds you when you're lost." 5 years later, at Dorothy's parole hearing, she faced the woman she'd tried to erase. "I forgive you," Kesha said quietly. "Not because you deserve it, but because hate is too heavy to carry anymore." Dorothy wept. For the first time in her life, she understood what she'd truly lost. Outside the prison, Nathan and Tommy waited with Dolores. "Ready to go home?" Nathan asked. Kesha smiled. After 20 years of having no home, she now had everything. "I've been ready my whole life." As they drove away, she thought of Emma, the sister she'd never known but always loved. Somewhere she knew Emma was smiling too. The twin who survived had done more than endure. She'd transformed pain into purpose, cruelty into compassion, and invisibility into inspiration. Dorothy Whitfield had tried to throw away a child. Instead, she'd created a hero.